Hello, BookTube. Alright, um, I realized when I was doing my June wrap-up that I forgot a book, and I just want to apologize. I've been really sick with like a chest cold thing that I thought I had successfully managed to avoid from my daughter, but it turns out that was not the case. So I'm still kind of sick, but I'm sounding better. So thought I'd go ahead and give this a try here. I did also read William S. Burroughs' Queer, which is like a continuation from Junkie, and it was written right after, I guess, but it wasn't published until, I believe, 1984, and I'm assuming it's because of the subject matter. Basically, it tells his accounts of after kind of being on the lam in America. He goes to Mexico, ends up meeting a guy there that he's really into, convinces him after many rejections to go with him in the search for Gage, which is ayahuasca. For those of you who know it better, is that. And the book was okay. It wasn't nearly as good as Junkie, I didn't think, but it was good. But then yesterday, I read the Gage Letters that he and Allen Ginsberg wrote back and forth together. And it was a really good companion piece because it was about the same time. It was letters from him from all over South America trying to find Gage and try to like figure out how to cook it so you could get high on it and stuff. I don't know what it is about Burroughs that I like so much because it was really disturbing how often he speaks of smelling the lust of boys. I don't know if that is like a cute term he's using for guys he likes or if he's really like out there like having sex with children. So I'm sure it leans more towards the latter, but here's hoping that it doesn't. So that was kind of a bit of a thing for me. That fire, in case you remember me mentioning it a while ago, is more contained, but I guess it's still burning. And that's before everyone freaks out. It's like a Frankenstein head tattoo that my daughter put on me, like a temporary tattoo kind of thing. I finished Dashiell Hammett's The Continental Op. Dashiell Hammett is like one of the people who created the hard-boiled detective genre, and I don't see it with the Continental Op. Like, I guess I could see it with Sam Spade. I like the Continental Op because it's a first person and nobody ever says his name. Like, he doesn't say what his name is. He's just the detective from the Continental Detective Agency. He's the operative. It's really good. It's like the short stories. Like Red Harvest, Dane Curse, those are novels about the Continental Op, but this one, and then I think The Return of the Continental Op are just like short stories that were like published in Black Mask and other pulp magazines like that. Some of the stories are better than others. In fact, there's two. Which one was it? Oh, The Big Knockover. That was two other Continental Op stories that go together. But there were two Continental Op stories in here that were like reading them side by side or like one after another is really, really cool. But yeah, so it's usually like, I don't even know how to describe it because all of the stories are different. But the problem I have with it is that Raymond Chandler and Philip Marlowe Like, that's the high water mark for me for hard-boiled detective fiction. So whenever I'm reading something that isn't Philip Marlowe, I'm like, and it takes me a little bit to get into it. So, but it was really good. Check it out. Now, the next thing I finished was Joyland by Stephen King. And that book, I'm having a really hard time trying to figure out how to put it. But it's like, it felt like 3 stories merged together into a book. And it's all about the same guy and the same period, but the periods are broken up so distinctively. Like, there's the summer when he starts working at Joyland and he has his 2 friends. Basically, the plot is they get this job at Joyland for the summer, which is like this amusement park on the East Coast. And the psychic lady there tells the main character, a couple whose name's Dev, tells Dev a couple of really on the nose predictions, but she also says to stay out of the House of Horrors because it's haunted, of this girl who was murdered in there a while ago or whatever. So the whole time in the back of the story, Dev, I think her name was Erin, and Tommy, like, they all want to go and kind of Nancy Drew and try to figure out what the fuck happened because the murder went unsolved. You're like, okay, these are our core characters. This is the problem. Then a few chapters in, it talks about how years later, because this took place in like the 70s, and in like the late 80s or early 90s, Tom died of cancer or something. And that was like the last time he went and saw Aaron and all this other stuff. So you know, like right off the bat, that none of the main characters are actually going to be jeopardized to the point where you don't know if they're going to make it or not. So that was weird. And then the second bit of the book is after the summer ends and Aaron and Tom leave and Deb decides to stay and has this infatuation with an older woman. And then all that happens. Then the third part of the book is them trying to solve the crime. You know, it was choppy. There was a ton of stuff in there that I guess was supposed to make you feel for Deb or whatever. And the reveal of who the killer was really cool and how they figured it out. But I feel like by that logic, the thing that gave the killer away should have gave him away a long time ago. So whatever. I read it. I enjoyed it, I guess. I don't want that time back, but I'm never ever gonna reread that book, ever. That's what I read in the last few days or whatever. And then I started reading Frankenstein again. Now, this is the Modern Library edition from 1999, and I got this in 1999, and it is such a good copy of the book, and like, you'll never crack the spine on this. It's just like, oh, it's amazing. And this is one of my favorite books of all time. It's one of those books where you like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like you feel like you're in love with everyone in the book kind of thing. And you feel so much for them. And I've read this so many times that it's like we could finish each other's sentences. It's like hanging out with an old friend. But I haven't even put these videos up yet. But the reason why this is even in my hand right now is because me and Zoe went out in the garage to look for this book because I wanted to read this one. I have a bunch of other copies of this, but this one's my favorite. And I wanted to read it so bad. And so we went in the garage just checking boxes that we haven't opened since we moved in here or whatever. And we found a ton of books. And so we did like this, like, I think it was 2 videos actually, like 2 book haul videos of books that we already had that we just hauled out of the garage. I love this book. It's just, if you've never read Frankenstein, I don't know. And it might just be like the fascination I have with Universal horror I grew up watching that stuff. It's just always been so magical to me, I guess. But this book is so amazing. And it's even more amazing that she wrote this when she was just a kid. And I don't know. I can't gush about Frankenstein enough. Next, I wanted a summer read. And it's funny because Frankenstein is sort of a summer read, because even though they're in the Arctic with Frankenstein telling his story, it's August, so it's kind of a summer read. But so I got Nick Carter, Checkmate in Rio off the shelf, and it says a new novel from the intimate world of espionage agents at work and play. I seriously want a t-shirt with that guy's face on it. That is exactly. I used to hate books that would have like a picture of the protagonist on it because I would always picture him different. But that is exactly how I picture the Killmaster Nick Carter. Exactly. Oh, and do you want to see what he looks like with the suit on? Boom. There you go. But yeah, this was the third book, the third or fourth book in the series, and I think this was written by Valerie Moore, whom I don't have a great track record with the Nick Carter books, because I think she wrote Safari for Spies, and I just could not like that book. This one starts off okay, though. He has to go to Rio because a bunch of the operatives there that are supposed to be checking in haven't been checking. He works for this secret agency called Axe that is like the highest up you could get. And the CIA wants him to take this girl CIA agent with them. And when they first meet, since it's written in third person, it's like, oh, he was very impressed with her looks, and she was impressed with his as well. So I'm like, oh my god, they're going to be banging the whole time they're in Rio. So they get to Rio, and I'm not that far into it. They get to Rio, and she wants to like get working on the case, and he's laying out by the pool, and he's like, hey, we're posing as a couple on vacation. Relax a little bit, have a drink. Come into the pool with me. And she's like, we really should be working, Nick. And he's like, my name's Bob, and your name is whatever. Come on in the pool. So it's pretty funny. So it's nice and summery. It's in Rio. Can't get much more summery than that, I guess. And then I haven't even started this yet. I got this a long time ago. I really enjoy pulp stories. And one of the biggest, like my favorite, like pulp action hero kind of thing is the Spider. This is The Spider Strikes, and this is the first pulp that they made of the Spider. And the reason why I've been holding off on reading the first two of these is because R.T.M. Scott wrote this one. Okay. And he was fired after 2 issues because his pacing was way too slow. And so they hired this guy named Norvell Page, but they ended up just doing a house name of Grant Stockbridge for all the rest of the Spider books. But Norvell Page wrote the majority, like more than the majority, of the Spider novels, or pulp novels, or whatever. And they are the Page books are like, fucking hell, dude. Like, they're so good. They're so fast paced. They're so witty. I mean, it's the 30s. So it's like 30s, 1930s, what do you call it? Mentality. But the Spider was created to directly compete with the Shadow, which was the big pulp hero at the time. There were others, obviously, Doc Savage and stuff, but the Spider and the Shadow looked. They had a similar look about them, and like this like Roger Moore looking fucking dude, looks ridiculous. And that's not at all what the spider looks like to me. He's like a master of disguise, and by the time, I mean, that might be what he looks like in here. This was published in 61, but it was released in 1933. But like later in the Norvell Page books, like he wears a shaggy wig and fake sharp teeth, and sometimes he wears like a hunchback. Like he just tries everything he can to look like terrifying. And he has his automatic pistols, and he just shoots fuckers. And the bad guys in the Spider books murder hundreds of people. It's like every one of these stories is like a catastrophe. It's kind of, it like Pulp's, the three things that killed Pulps were mass market paperback originals, like Fawcett did, the rise of comic books, and the Comics Code. And the Comics Code was a little bit later, but after the Comics Code, there was no way you could still put out the stuff you were putting out, just censorship wise, because like these are so violent. So if you like really violent adventure stories, definitely take a look at The Spider. I'm also going to try to read it. If it's too, basically I want to read, I want to start doing like a series on here of like the history of the mystery genre, all that other stuff, because I'm gonna be doing like pulps, dime novels, penny dreadfuls, cozy mysteries, Sherlock Holmes. Like, I'm really into the history of publication craft and all that other shit. So one of the first known books to have a mystery or detective element ish is Voltaire's Zadig. And so picked that up last night, and just read like the first couple pages. It's not that big, so I should be able to finish that pretty soon. So yeah, those are the books I read and am reading, and hit me up on Goodreads or leave comments. I've been really enjoying the comments. You guys have been really great. I enjoy the chatting back and forth. I've had a lot of YouTube channels and podcasts before, and I think this community has been probably the most consistent and amazing community as far as comments and conversations go. So anyway, hopefully next time I do a video, my voice won't sound like gravel. So have a good weekend, BookTube.